Hi, Mike. Today we're talking about episode 33, Finding Joy and Community in Shared Experiences with Tash Bilau-Howie. Now, since Tash recorded this podcast, she has become a common language facilitator. So
Yeah.
when you listen to the podcast, you definitely hear her talking about her experience as a storyteller. We recorded this one and released it in March of 2025. What resonated for you in this conversation?
Yeah. I mean, apart from, I feel like me and Tash have a special connection. She was one of my storytellers. We went to Greece. Now she's a facilitator. I think it's so cool to see that for some people there's this whole trajectory around digital storytelling, and it often starts with making one yourself. But there's certain people when they make a story for themselves, you can already tell that they would be really good at working with others. And I think Tash was definitely one of those people. So I fully encouraged her in that direction, and I'm glad she took it up. And now, another cool update is she's going to be co-facilitating the next Brain Tumor Foundation digital storytelling workshop with me. And so not only is she now she's going to be working with people who just 2 years earlier she was one of those participants. So it's really cool, of course, to sort of see that whole trajectory. But I think what really stood out to me in that conversation was how she talked about she went into this Brain Tumor Foundation workshop with the hope that her story would be shared and that it would help others. And I think that's a really important thing for people to realize is, sometimes we're so careful and we're so protective of our storytellers. We forget to ask them, "What do you want?" with your story, and and I would say most young adults in particular, they want their story to be shared far and wide because they want it to help others. And there's this sort of altruistic sort of value that a lot of young adults have, that they want their story to improve the lives of others, and so we need to be really proactive about planning for those possible distribution activities, and that's something in common language I would say we have grown in a massive way over the past 4 or 5 years, even, where now distribution planning is done right at the beginning, right? Like you brainstorm ideas about how and where and why and for what reason. Even though we know that there's lots of off ramps, people don't have to do any of that stuff, right? We always give them lots of off ramps, but we definitely go into a lot of projects now with plans in place about how to share it. And so, it's really cool. I sort of that's something that I sort of recognized in her and the things that she was saying. That was like, man, I'm glad that we start to think about that stuff up front. I think that really is important to be able to fully honor, the stories that are created and honor people like Tash who are willing to share a very difficult story about a brain tumor in particular, right? So, yeah, that's what really stood out to me.
Well, and, her story is linked into that episode, so you can find the links to the blog, the podcast, and her story in the show notes here, but I also wanted to mention that common languages come a really far way in the fact that we have a podcast where we can amplify those people that want
Hmm.
to be sharing stories more broadly. The other thing that's available is Common Language has a monthly newsletter now, and so
Hmm.
people can
Yep.
register and you can
Hmm.
see different stories, different examples, and what I love is Crystal's done an amazing job of including examples of stories, examples of projects, podcasts that have gone out. So you get quite a lot of information about things that have happened, but also things that are coming up. And I think that's a great way. I know
Hmm.
you have a couple screenings coming up. There's just
Yeah, a bunch.
right? That's just something that I think we at Common Language and Mike, you have really focused on how do we
Mm.
share those stories with people that want to. And so definitely take a look at Tasha's story. This was all about finding joy and community and shared experiences. It was episode 33.